Yes, this is one of the important term reserve to production ratio, R by P ratio. Okay, so it's very simple, nothing very big thing. In an end of the year, how much we have the reserve, that is remaining reserve, okay, divided by production, how much production we are using, we are producing on that year, that is called as R by P ratio. For example, we are telling, we are roughly discussing the, I mean, up to some in newspaper or something, and you may be seen up to maximum 80 years only coal is, I mean, sorry, oil is there, oil reserves are there. What it means, let's take the transportation sector. Okay, so let's say some sheet number is like there are 20,000, okay, 20,000 total vehicles are available in all over world. Okay, let's take it. Okay, it won't be anyway, it is not actually correct, everybody knows, even a kid will know, but again I'm just taking like this. Okay, and for example 2026, okay, in 2026 20,000 vehicles are there. Okay, and there are actually maybe some 40,000, this is also a very bad number, 40,000 liters remaining in the world, 40,000 liters, or instead of 40,000 I am just putting as 40 lakh, 4 lakh, sorry, 4 lakh, 4 lakh liters remaining oil reserves is there. So 4 lakh divided by 20,000. So this will give you how many years these 20,000 vehicles can drive by using 4 lakh liters of oil. That means it will come whatever the number, maybe 200 years or something, 20 years. Okay, yeah, 20 years. So this is what the reserve to production ratio. Okay, this is reserve to production ratio. Okay, this is important because next slide we are going to, we are taking one by one. First one is coal. Yeah, everybody knows how this coal or the, I mean, how it is formulating, this entire thing, you know. Okay, I'm not a geo person, so anyway, but again you can just go through this, the entire thing. This coal is forming because of the very high temperature inside earth, that everybody knows. Okay, this is the simple representation of how coal is formed. Now this is actually how much reserve is there. This is reserve, how much percentage reserve, if you compare to all over world, how much reserve is there and how much they are producing, production. This is reserve, this is production. So USA tops in reserve, 26.6% of total world coal reserve is in USA, but they are producing only 12.9%. And Russia seconds, China third. But here one important thing, okay, before that, Australia 8.6, leave it, India, then Indonesia, like that. Now one important thing you want to see here, you want to just put in mind, the highest reserve is in USA, whereas highest production is in China. Okay, highest reserve in USA and highest production of coal in China. Okay, and Indonesian calls also we are getting. We will come to that. This is another important thing. World average is 113 years. As of now, current production, reserve to production ratio only till 113 years this coal will exist. Okay. Now, oil actually, see, all over world, 1.57 to 1.77 trillion barrels are remaining in the world. Barrels means one barrel is actually 160 liters. Yeah, okay. Just put it in your mind, or I mean, if you are actually starting a one word file or something which can give all the formulas and all those things, then you enter this also. One barrel equal to 160 liters. Okay. So this is actually 300 400 years, million years ago. Some sea plants and animals were dead and buried in ocean floor, and from that actually there will be a layer formed, and after that sand will be come over to that, on top of that, and within 50 to 100 millions years ago, it will go deeper and deeper, and because of high heat and pressure, it will come to oil and gas. And today what we are doing, we are just drilling and getting. Okay. Yeah. Same thing here also. Reserve to production. Reserve here. This is actually reserve, and this is actually production. Okay. Something we want to be very careful is actually reserve. The highest is in Venezuela, and production the highest is in Saudi Arabia. Okay. And world average is actually 53 years. Now next 53 years only this oil will be there. Okay. Now natural gas, of course, how it is happening, I told. Natural gas, the main composition is actually methane, and there will be some others also, ethane, propane, butane and pentane will be there, because since it is actually hydrocarbon. Okay. So this entire thing will be there, but the only thing is actually methane, it is fine and great. Methane we can process very simply, but for processing the others, ethane, propane, butane and pentane, it is somewhat difficult process, or it need extensive processing. Okay. Now 188 to 11 trillion cubic meters are the reserve as of now in all over world. Okay. India holds a very small percentage of natural gas reserves, approximately 0.7 percentage. Now coming to this, Iran is the highest reserve, 18.2. Okay. And world average is 55 years. Okay. Now coming to Indian energy scenario, India is one of the fastest growing energy market in the world. So there are mix of sources like coal, oil, renewable. We are using everything. Okay. Natural gas also, that is also there. Now per capita consumption, India's per capita energy consumption is significantly lower than the global average, but it is very rising. We'll come to that. Now energy mix, total energy is around 56% we are using coal and 25% we are using oil. Okay. Natural gas 6%, renewable, this is very important. Renewable we are using 10%, which is very good. Okay. And hydroelectricity, of course, 3%, nuclear around 1%. Now From Indian perspective, this is the case. As per Indian reserve and as per Indian production, coal will sustain for another 100 years. Oil will be there for 17.5 years, which is nothing. Gas reserve for 40.2 percentage. This value is most important. Oil reserve. That is the reason why electric vehicles are coming to picture. Because even though this is another perspective, even though many people are telling EV is not a carbon neutral or something, of course it's not carbon neutral, but again, dependency that we have at present 100 years of coal reserve is there. By using this coal, we can generate electricity, and by that, from that electricity, it is possible to drive electric vehicles, so that this oil reserves this year we can extend. Okay, because oil we are mainly using in engines, whatever the vehicles, right? Combustion engines. Okay. Yeah. Next is actually installed capacity of electricity generation. I just gave this, that's all. I just concentrate on some of the facts, like fossil fuel we are using 47 percentage of electricity generation is through fossil fuels. Solar we are using 27 percentage, which is somewhat good number. Okay, and wind 10 percentage, which is also a good number. But this entire thing is actually on installed capacity basis. Okay, but again, now around 520 gigawatt installed capacity is there right now. Okay, just note down that point, 520 gigawatt around. Sector wise energy consumption, let's go to that. Who is using most energy, most part of the energy? Of course, that is industry. Yeah, everybody knows this. So apart from that industry, next is actually residential purpose. Okay, then third one is transport. Another thing, transport. Industry, residential, transport. Of course, the remaining is actually there, but again, it is very small. Okay, so that is why energy audit means mainly it is pointing to industry and residential, these two places. Okay, sector wise energy consumption, this is just a comparison, just to get a feel for you. Different sectors I took: cement, iron and steel, fertilizers, aluminium, pulp and paper, chloralkali, sugar. So you can just see what is the Indian average and global average, global benchmark. You can see cal per kg, okay, or cal per ton, whatever it is mentioned. So you can just go through this. So you will get a feel what is the Indian sector. Almost in many places, India is actually very good in many places, like pulp and paper, sugar cane, sugar. These are actually almost reaching the global average. Yes. So India per capita electricity consumption. So we want to see this. We already discussed this thing. It was actually before 2014, that is 2013. During that time, it was only below 1000. That is 1000 kWh per person who is living in India. Right now, it is increasing. You can see the graph. So it increased up to 2019-20. 2019-20 it increased. then a slight decrease on next year. Of course, everybody knows what happened in this year. Yeah. So this year actually the pandemic COVID happened. So it may be because of that, but again it increased, and last year 2024-25 it reached up to 1460 units per year. 1460 units per year. This is the current per capita consumption. Of course, we are less than some other countries. Again, this matters a lot. That is the point. Okay. So we can wind up the class today, and we will be discussing the remaining things on our next session. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.